Okay. Alhamdulillah. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم ربنا كن لنا ولا تكن علينا، ربنا علينا لا علينا، لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين. Okay. Now, today is going to be our last day. We still have 7 of you on here today, and I can see even that Wahid Ithnain. Okay, so we're talking about 5 people now, mainly from our learners. And okay, any of those present affiliated with the madrasa? Yes or no? Any of you affiliated with the madrasa? And what is the name of the madrasa? Any of those around affiliated with the madrasa? Yes or no, please? And what madrasa are you affiliated? Are you affiliated to? Just want to know what we are doing and if it's okay. So no one, mashallah. Okay. We will continue and finish up the course today, inshallah, with one concept actually to look at. And when we look at that concept, we will quickly do a rundown of some templates that we can refer to as our guide in what we have learned so far. And then we do some exercises. We'll do a lot of exercises today, inshallah. And so we would start straightforward by going through our slides. Today is only one concept, and that concept is the concept of condition, where how do the Quran give a conditional statement, and how do we apply it, and how do we detect a conditional statement in Arabic. Okay, so let's go straight here to show. It's a very straightforward concept. So, okay. Okay, I hope you can see my screen. Good. Now, a conditional statement, we call it a jumla shartiyya. أي جملة شرطية. Okay, جملة شرطية. This is صفة موصوف. أي هذه جملة شرطية. Okay. We are going to learn about jumla shartiyya. And when we say jumla shartiyya, we mean a jumla, a sentence that is conditional. A conditional statement can be defined as the if-then statement. If-then statement. So there are 2 parts of the statement. The first part is the condition itself, and the second part is the answer to the condition. That's the result or the consequence of the condition. So, for instance, if Fatima goes, then Ahmed will go. إذا ذهبت فاطمة يذهب. إذا أو إن ذهبت let me use أستخدم إن هنا. إن تذهب فاطمة يذهب أحمد. So تذهب and يذهب. Here تذهب هو يذهب. So this is a typical example of the if then statement in Arabic. So I will say in tazhab. Why tazhab? Because this is a simple present. So fil mudara. In tazhab Fatima yadhhab Ahmad. And you see the translation would be will go, because it's not happened yet. And so this is called fi'l shart, this particular fi'l for this particular shart. And then this particular fi'l is considered the jawab of shart. So fi'l shart is this. That is the conditional statement, the one that would have to happen first. And then the jawab shart is the answer. Jawab is an answer to that particular condition. And in the above statement, Ahmad will only go if Fatima goes. So that's what it says here. Therefore, the condition is Fatima goes. Tazhabu Fatima. So Tazhabu Fatima, and the consequence is Yazhabu Ahmad. So Yazhabu Tazhab. Okay, good. In classical Arabic, the lightest form of a fi'l, that is the fi'l majzoom, is used to communicate short. What is the meaning of fi'l majzoom? It means the fi'l is having lightest sign. Okay, lightest sign. Now, if the fi'ls that are having lightest sign that are used to communicate condition. Now, what caused this lightest sign is the in. So you remember this in. I'm sure you all remember this in, the harfs of lightest, right? Adawat nasibat, jazimat al-mudara. Those words that make the fi'l mudara jazm or majzoom, that cause the fi'l mudara to have sukun. Okay, in lam, lamma, wal, fal, li. Okay, these are the harfs that makes fi'l mudara jazm. Now, one of them, not only does it cause the jazm, but it also used for condition statement or conditional statement, right? That is in. Okay, in. So if this happen, then this will also happen. In tazhab Fatima to yazhab Ahmad. But you can see that we don't say yazhabu. Sorry, we don't say tazhabu or tadhhaba or yazhabu or yadhhaba. We say yadhhab. Why? Because this in is shartiya, and that is what it causes. It causes the fi'l mudara to be lightest. Okay. So in tadhhab Fatima to yadhhab Ahmadu. So in adat shart, tadhhab fi'l mudara majzoom bi in, and then the sign of jazm is sukun Fatima fa'il. Wa in tazhab fi'l shart or jumla sharti, fi'l shart, that is fi'l shart is the tazhab. Okay, and then yadhhab is the jawab shart majzoomun bi in, and the dua is Ahmadu. Okay. So that's how this is explained. So the aspect of fi'l shart and jawab shart, you know, it's not a mahal in Arab. Note, it is just a language concept in the language of Arabic that is known as jumla shartiyya. So the whole of this is jumla shartiyya. It has two parts: the fi'l shart part and the jawab shart part. Okay. So notice that both af'al, okay, that is tazhab and yazhab, tazhab for here, yazhab for huwa, are all in jazm form. Jazm means they are having lightest sign, okay, the sukun, okay. That is, they are majzoom. This indicates a condition, okay. Let's look at the example from the Quran. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu in tasbiru. So you see the in here is known as adat shartin wa jazm. So what it does is it creates a condition for this particular statement. So we call it fi'l shart. Anytime you see in, then it will have to be fi'l shart that comes after it. Okay, and what this in does in the fi'l is that it makes it jazm, and the sign of jazm here is the noon is dropped. Why is the noon dropped? Because this is a fi'l mudari', okay, that is for whom, sorry, for antum, ta hum, okay, ta hum, so antum, okay, so ta nsuruna normally it should have been tansuruna. Now it is tansuru because it has been affected by the job of this guy here, okay. So the whole of that, you will do the i'rab, and then the concept of shart is also there. So there are two things you do here. One is to analyze the in tansuru. The second thing is to also show that there is another concept of shart there, okay. So you can make the normal i'rab in that shart tansuru fil mudara majzum bi in, and the sign of alamatun al-jazm sukutun nun or hasfin nun, or the dropping of the nun, okay. And of course the dua here is antum. Note, we don't say the dua is wow or the dua is nun. A dua cannot be a harf. A dua is either a human person or a pronoun that stands instead of it, okay. This is one of the things what we are trying to say. Let's look at it in a different way in this particular course, where we don't say a fa'il is wow. Wow cannot be fa'il. A pronoun must be a fa'il or an outside dua, right? So we say the dua here is antum. Why antum? It has to do with plural, and it has to do with second person because of the ta. Anytime you hear a ta in a fa'il, it's talking about the second person. In tansuru, then Allah ha maf'ul. Yansur. Okay, you say fi'l mudari' majzum bi in, and then you can also say jawab ash-shart. Okay, yansur. And the moment I say yansur fi'il, I need to talk about the fa'il. Where is the fa'il? Why is the fa'il here? Okay, yansur huwa kum maf'ul bihi majzum. Okay, maf'ul bihi mabni ala sukun, and this one is non-flexible, but it's the maf'ul bihi is in the status of nasb. Any attached pronoun to a fi'il is maf'ul bihi, particularly if it ends with this particular sukun here. You remember where we say this particular letter is not affected. Wa yuthabbit aqdamakum. What is atifa? Yuthabbit will always be like yansur. Okay, so it's also majzum, and it also follows the jawab. It's not part of the fi'il shart. No, it's part of the jawab ash-shart. Yuthabbit fi'il mudari' majzum bi in. You can also say yuthabbit ma'tufun ala yansur. The moment I say ma'tuf, you know that it's taking the same ruling. Okay, and the aqdama is maf'ul maf'ul bihi. Okay, and it is mudaf, kum is mudaf ilayh. So here the concept of shart is clear. In tansuru is the fi'il shart, yansurkum is the jawab shart, and yuthabbit or yansur is the jawab shart, and then yuthabbit is also ma'tuf ala yansur. So it takes the same ruling. Okay, now it says here that condition shart, okay, is an example of in tansurullah. In tansurullah, okay, if you all support Allah. If you all support Allah, the question will be, what will happen? Then the jawab, that is the answer to the shart, is yansurkum. He, Allah, he, huwa. Yansur, huwa, kum, antum. He will also help or support you. Wa? And then you submit akdamakum. Anytime you see wa doing the work of atifa or conjunction, most of the time you realize that the ruling of what is before the wa will be in consonance with the ruling of what is after the wa. So you see here, you see fi'il fa'il maf'ul, fi'il fa'il maf'ul, and the dua is huwa. The dua is also huwa. So anytime, for instance, it's just for you to say Ja'a Muhammadun wa Musa wa Isa. So Muhammad is the one who came, and Isa and Musa, it gives the implication that Muhammad came and Isa came, or Musa also came, right? So anytime we see wa al-atifa in Nahaw, what we just have to say is ma'tuf ala kada. That means it's also is in conjunction with a particular expression or a word or statement that came before it. So anytime we see wow, just look at the ruling or the i'rab of what is before it. It will mostly be similar to what is after it. Sometimes a word to word, sometimes it's a phrase to phrase or fragment to fragment, sometimes it's a whole sentence to a whole sentence. Okay, but what we are talking about here is the fact that the whole of this is is the answer or the statement of consequence for the condition. Okay. So you and so he will support you and plant firmly your feet. So this particular expression would not happen if the first one does not happen. That is short. Okay. You have to also have to notice the tansuru and yansur and yusabbit. You can all see that they are all in the states of lightest, right? This one is lightest by dropping of the noon. This one is lightest by the sukun. This one is also lightest by having the sukun. Okay. Be careful. This ta is not for feminine. Thabbit. Okay. We thabbit. This ta is not for feminine. This ta is part of the fi'l itself. Okay. Thabbata yuthabbitu tathbitan. فهو مثبت. Okay. ثبت يثبت تثبيتا فهو مثبت. ثبت لا تثبت. تثبتا and then تثبتا مثبت. Okay. These are the forms that the word sabbata can come. So sometimes you will see ta like this. Not always is it ta at ta'neens. Okay. Cool. Okay. So that is the jazm aspect. Let's look at other examples of shart. وَإِن تُطِعْ أَكْثَرَ مَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ يُضِلُّكَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. وَإِن. So the moment I hear in, there is something of a condition. Where then the moment I hear in, I have to be looking for two fi'il mudari's. Okay. In tuti' da 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 yudillu. So tuti' yudillu. If you do da 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 da, this will happen. That's what it means. So anytime we see in, you look for two fi'il mudari' that are in lightest in lightest form. Okay. Fi'il mudari' majzoom. So in tuti'. So here it says in tuti' akthara man fil ard. This is the fi'il shart or the shart statement. Okay. And then the jawab shart is yudilluka an sabilillah. If you obey most of those upon the earth, they will yudilluka an sabilillah. They will mislead you from the way of Allah. Okay. So our concentration now is on the fi'l mudari' majzoom and another fi'l mudari' majzoom. This one is majzoom by having the sukun, and this one is majzoom by dropping of the noon, because the actual normal fi'l mudari' is yudilluna. The ka is maf'ul bih. Okay. Another one here, this says wa in tuti'u Allah wa rasulahu la yalitkum min a'malihim shay'a. So you see, it's a long ayah, but the moment I see in, so that there is a condition. In Hausa, they say in kai kada ab kada defa. So the in is actually from here, from the Arabic word in. Okay. So the fi'l mudari'. So whenever you see in, ask yourself, where are the two fi'l mudari'as? Then this is it. Tuti'u is one, and then yalitkum, another fi'l mudari'. Of course, we know fi'l mudari' by these letters: Anita, or Anaitu, or Atina. Call it whatever, but it is Hamza, Nun, Ya, and Ta that comes before every fi'l. That makes the fi'l mudari' or present tense. Okay. Now this present tense is having sukun because of this in. This one is also having, of course, this sukun is the sign of jazm. Note, you remember I told you there is difference between the sign of jazm and the status of jazm, for instance. Of course, not in the case of a fi'l, we don't say status, you know, but we consider its i'rab or its form as it is, that it is majzumun. So when we say it is majzumun, we mean that the state in which it is, okay, is in jazm status, which means it is in lightest status. Now, how do we consider the lightest? We have to put in a sign. So that sign can either be sukun if the word is having an ending without a combination at the end. But if there's a combination at the end, combination of letters and sounds that is attached to the fi'l, like una, the actual word is ata'a, ending with the ayn. The oo is just to show that it is plural, masculine, isn't it? Okay, but in this case, there is no any ending combination. There's only the sound. So the sound there will be sukoon. But there is ending combination, then the noon of that ending combination drops to indicate the jazm. Okay, this is the condition of for the statement wa in tuti'u Allah wa rasulahu. Okay, wa is atifa in adat shartin wa jazm fil mudara tuti'u. Okay, is majzoom, and the sign of jazm here what is the dropping of the noon. What caused this dropping of the noon? This word in. So tuti'u, and what is the dua? The moment I look for that action, I will be looking for the dua. The dua is antum. How do I know? It's a plural masculine, and the ta tells me that is a second person. So tuti'u, Allah is maf'ul bihi, wa is atifa, rasula. Rasula is ma'tuf ala Allah. So if Allah is maf'ul bihi, Rasul is also maf'ul bihi in that case. And Rasul is mudaf Allah, and then the who is mudaf ilayhi. Okay. So the whole of this is the shart statement. And then the jawab shart is la yalitkum min a'malikum shay'a. Okay. He will not deprive you from your deeds of anything. Okay. La yalitkum. La yalitkum. So this la is la an-nafiya. Note, this one is la, it's not these are some of the things. You see, this word will look like as if it's la and nahiya, which causes which forbids. It's not la for forbidding. This one is la for negation. So this sukoon is not caused by this la. This sukoon is caused by the in. Okay, in ash-shartiyya. So that you shouldn't be confused thinking that this la is la for forbidding. Is la for negation. You can see the word not. Okay, so la yalitkum, la nafiya, yalit fil mudari' majzumun bi in ash-shartiyya wa alamat jazm as-sukun. Okay, and then the wal fa'il huna huwa, la yalitkum huwa. So kum is maf'ul bihi min harf jar amali majrur, and jaru majrur is mbf. Al amal is mudaf and kum is mudaf ilayhi. Shay'an is مفعول به أو is لا يلدكم من أعمالكم شيئا مفعول حال. Okay, مفعول حال ليلدكم. Okay, وإن, another one here said وإن, another in. The moment I see in, I'm looking for two فعل مضارع. يأتوكم أسارى تفادوهم. So يأتوكم and تفادوهم. This is the فعل شرط. This is the جواب شرط. It says here وإن يأتوكم أسارى in ya'tukum usara. Okay, wa atifa in adat shart ya'tu fil mudara majzum, and the sign of jazm here is the dropping of the noon, because normally it is ya'tuna, and kum is maf'ul bihi. Okay, and usara is maf'ul hal. Okay, tufaduhum is fil mudari, another fil mudari majzumun bi in wa alamat al-jazm, dropping of the noon. The sign of jazm here is the dropping of the noon. And then hum, you see, can see hum here, you can see kum here. They are all pronouns, right? And anytime we see a pronoun attached to a fa'il, it's maf'ul bihi. Okay, and I have explained that the difference between the pronoun inside the fa'il and the pronoun which is physically attached to a fa'il. Okay, this one is not a pronoun inside, but this is attached. Okay, good. And then conditional statements with man and ma. Now, very important. These words man and ma can also be used apart from in. Okay, in is used mostly, but man and ma can also be used. You remember your man, your man, which is ism mawsul, right? It also can be used, but ma can also be used. But let's look at here. It says another example of conditional statement in which the words man, which means whoever, and ma, which means whatever, are used. Okay, so ma, alladhi, ma is used for human, and then man is used for human, and ma is used for non-human being. Just as with the word in, there will be a condition and an answer. Also, let's look at an example. Man yadhhab yuflih. Man ay alladhi yazhab. So this is the fi'l shart. Yuflih is the jawab. Okay, whoever goes will succeed. That's how it's translated. So this man is adat shart. Okay, this man is adat shart. What it does is it causes the fi'l here to be majzoom. Okay, good. And then, okay, so this is man yazhab fi'l shart, and then yuflih jawab shart. Okay, whatever you might spend will be accepted. Ma tumfik yuqbal. Ma whatever tumfik. Ma tumfik yuqbal. Okay, whatever you spend yuqbal would be accepted. So these are the two fi'ls that have been affected by ma, which is a conditional word. Okay. Okay. Now let's go straight to other examples here with man and ma. وَمَن نُعَمِّرْ نُنَكِّسْهُ فِي الْخَلْقِ. وَمَن نُعَمِّرْ نُنَكِّسْهُ فِي الْخَلْقِ. Okay. Man nu'ammir. You can see the man is the tool for making a fi'il al-mudari' jazm. Nu'ammir is fi'il mudari' with the noon indicating nahnu, and then the sukun here shows the sign of jazm caused by man ash-shartiyya, man a conditional man. Okay, so nu'ammir hu, nu'ammir hu, nu'ammir fi'il mudari' and the fa'il is nahnu, who is maf'ul bihi. Then nunakkis hu, so you can see the nunakkis. This is the second fi'il mudari' that has been affected or inflicted by man to be the jawab of shart. Okay, nunakkis nahnu fa'il, who is maf'ul bihi. Okay, and fil khalqi jar wa majrur mbf. So it says here that man nu'ammir is the condition, and notice that nu'ammir is majzoom. You can see the sukun here. Okay, majzoom means it's having sukun, and then the jawab shart is nunakkisu fil khalq. Notice also that nunakkis is also in jazm form. Wama taf'alu, another one with ma. Wama taf'alu min khairin, and that's why you see now you know that this ma is not the other ma that we spoke about, which is ma for negation. Ma la lam lan. You remember the ones we took yesterday, ma la lam and lan, those ones that can cause negation in the meaning of a statement. In this case, this ma is not that ma. How do we differentiate between them? In the case of this ma, it affects the fi'il by making the fi'il lightest, unlike the other one. And this ma is a conditional ma. It works on two fi'ils, okay? Unlike the other one. These are some of the things that, but with practice, they will come to sit in place, okay? So the fi'il shart is wama taf'alu. Wama taf'alu, and then the jawab shart is ya'lamhu. Ya'lamhu. And the whole of this sentence is the shart itself, wama taf'alu min khairin, and then the jawab is ya'lamhu Allah. Okay, so we have now learned about in, we have learned about man, and we have learned about ma as the shart tools. Okay, then finally we spoke okay, this is forbidden, we have already spoken about this. Okay, these are some of the concept explanation of how to answer or answering a condition of forbidding. Now, sometimes you can also create a conditional statement, not necessarily with those three tools, the in, the man, and then the ma. How do you do it? It says here, similar to conditional statements, the consequence of a command or forbidding is also made majzoom to indicate its relationship to command. So for instance, when you say aslim yarhamkallah, aslim yarhamkallah, okay, submit, Allah will have mercy on you. It means, in the meaning, it means if you submit to Allah, then Allah will have mercy on you. That is the implicit meaning of that. So in that case, it is considered that aslim and yarham are both fi'l shart and jawab shart without necessarily bringing any of the in or man or ma alongside here. So just by saying in Arabic, aslim is a command. It sounds like a command. Then yarhamkallah, meaning in aslamta yarhamkallah. Okay, I'm asking you to do this with force, with a kind of enthusiasm, because I know when you do so, we submit to Allah, He will have mercy on you. Okay, and how to do that, Arab? You say aslim is fi'l amr and the fa'il is anta. Okay, and then yarhamkallah, the whole of that statement becomes what? The jaza'ul amr. So we have fi'l amr and jaza'u al amr. Why? How do I know there is a jaza'ul amr in this kind of sentence? Is when I see two fi'ils like this. Okay, the first one is amr and the second one is normal mudara, but that mudara is having sukun. Okay, because it is a jaza'ul amr, implying that there is a short, statement in the tone of the sentence. These are some of the examples. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, فَقُلْتُ اسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ. Okay, that is Nabi Nuh when he was telling his people, وَقُلْتُ اسْتَغْفِرُوا. Istaghfiru, this is a command. Okay, and I said, istaghfiru rabbakum, ask for forgiveness from your Lord. Innahu kana ghaffara, for he is oft forgiven. Yursil as-sama. So you see this yursil and istaghfiru. So istaghfiru is a command, as if he is saying, seek for Allah's forgiveness, for he is oft forgiven. And if you do so, if you do seek for forgiveness, yursil as-sama alaykum midrara, he is going to send down unto you rain from the sky with a lot of shower, right? So the yursil, by the way, this is yursil, it's not yursili. The kisra there is just for to be able to read, for flow. We say it is only for flow, tajweed reason. Okay, so that you say yursil, it's actually yursil sama, yursil and then sama, because yursil is majzum bi بأنه جزاء الإيه؟ جزاء الأمر. Okay, جزاء الأمر. This is the fi'l amr majzum, and this is جزاء الأمر أيضا majzum. It's as if it's also a command. Okay, and so another one here says وَيُمْدِدْكُمْ. Now this wa is atifa. So anytime I said you see atifa, it means the ruling of what is in front of it is typical like the ruling of what is before it. So this fi'l mudara, this one takes the ruling of what is before it, and that is that. So if this one is majzum, this one is also majzum. Okay, it's having the sukun. Yamdidkum bi amwalin is going to give you a lot of money, a lot of wealth, as well as children. Wa yaj'al, you see the wa is also saying yaj'al is the same as yumdid and also as yursil. Okay, so imagine when you do one thing, Allah gives you three. Yursil wa yumdid wa yaj'al. Okay, so these are how we know fi'l al-amr and jaza'ul amr. So we have fi'l al-shart and jawab al-shart when there is a conditional tool or half. Okay, else fi'l al-amr can also cause a conditional tone of a statement. In the above ayat, Nuh alayhi salam explains his da'wah to his people. He commanded them to ask Allah's forgiveness, and as a result, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send them rain, increase them, and provide for them. Okay, the command is istaghfiru. That's the command, and the consequence of this command, or the answer to it, is to yursil and yumdid and yaj'al. Okay, as indicated by the jazm or the sukun sign on all the three words. Okay, we'll take a short break and then we'll come and look at the summary. Today we just took fi'l al-shart and jawab al-shart, and then fi'l al-amr and jaza'ul amr. This is the last concept we are going to take. We'll take a short break and come back and look at the summary, and then we'll do some exercises afterwards. Okay, stay on. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. You have a short poll to do. I've just sent a poll for you to answer them. Just take 2 minutes to do that. I will get back to you. Jazakumullah khair. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So generally, this is how the poll looks like, and I hope you can see the poll results. Okay. Yes. So majority or a lot of you still want to. Okay. Yeah. Jumla fi'liya looks the place of concern. Yes. So you can see that it even goes to the fact that the explanation of the fi'l or jumla fi'liya also needs, and then some part of the fragment. Naturally so, yes. Okay, so this is this factual. We'll take note of that. And then we'll look at quickly the slides. Thank you very much. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you for taking your time to do that. Now let's quickly do the summary, and then I'm sure through that also we'll put more light onto what we have learned so far. Now these are the things we have learned. Ism. We learned ism, and then we look at their forms, the different forms of the ism. Of course, before that, we did say that ism, fail, harf are the kinds of words, and that is the first level or the first strata of the language, and so ism is just one type or one kind of a word in Arabic, particularly when looking at it in the Nahu perspective. You remember the last time I said Nahu has its own terminologies. When you say ism in Nahu, it's not ism in Lugha. When you say fi'il in Nahu, it's quite different from the fi'il you are talking about in Lugha. When you say harf in Nahu, you are talking about a different thing from the normal harf in Lugha. So we need to understand that we are talking, when we talk about these words, we are talking about them technically in Arabic language, okay? So here we are talking about ism, which is the one kind of a word or one of the three kinds of words in Arabic. And we say each ism has four properties. Status is the first one, and the status, you can look at its form, or you consider its form. The forms are either rafa, nasb, or jar. The rafa is for a doer or a subject. The nasb is for the detail or the done to or victim. And then jar is any word after of or any word preceded by harf of jar. These are the three different status. And each and every one of these, for you to be able to identify the status in these three forms, you need to look at the ending sounds and the ending combinations. Ending sounds are for singular words as well as plural non-human or human broken plurals, while the ending combination are for the pair words or dual words as well as plural words. Pronoun is a very interesting type of an ism. It has its independent form, and then it has its attached form. The independent form is always in rafa status. Huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna, anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antunna, ana, nahnu. And then the attached equivalent of all the pronouns can either be in nasb or jar status, okay? And it will be in nasb status when it's attached to a fi'l, and will be in jar status when attached to an ism. And those attached pronouns are hu, he, homa, hima, him, ha, homa, hima, hunna, hinna, ka, kuma, kum, ki, kuma, kunna, ini, and na. Okay. After looking at the status, we the two things, the form, the ending sound and combination. Then we look at it being heavy or light. Heavy or light, we say by default, all isms are heavy, like kitabun, madrasatun, baytun, laylun, and so on. It can be light, okay, by removing the nun sound, the tanween or the nun at the end. And we mentioned that there are four reasons for which an ism can be light. One of them is when it falls after an absolute la, or when it is attached to an ism, or when it's a one being called, or when it is a partly flexible ism. Okay, they can then an ism will be considered light. Light means it cannot take tanween. Okay, This is one other thing to consider for an ism to be specifically noted as having a certain status, okay? That either it's being light or heavy. The flexibility is another thing to consider for a status. And it is either the ism can be fully flexible or non-flexible or partly flexible. The flexibility is regarding its ending. If it shows all the u, a, e, or it does not show it at all, or it partly shows or partly doesn't show. Okay, so you consider all those things for an ism for its status to be determined. These are the 4 things to consider. Okay, then we move to the next thing, which is the number. Second property of an ism. The number is either singular, pair, or plural. Okay, singular and pair have no issues more like the plural. Okay, and so we will consider also the gender. Definitely, whenever we are talking about singular, pair, and plural, we'll be looking at it being either singular or feminine. And then we'll look at the different kinds of plural. We have the non-human broken plural, which is treated as she grammatically, and then the human broken plural, which is treated as she or as it is, as originally is. Okay, you will also have to note that all non-human plurals are treated as she, okay, as it is in your handout. Okay, that's the number. The gender, the third part or the third aspect of an ism, we say that all gender of a kalima is originally masculine. Every ism that is every ism is in masculine gender, except if it is originally feminine or biologically feminine, or if it's the fake feminine. And the fake femininity can be determined by the end of the word, if it's having a ta or a or a, or if it's a body part in pair, broken plurals, or if the Arabs say so. That means if Arabs determine that the word is feminine, then it is feminine, or any of these other reasons. Else, the word is masculine. So for instance, kalamun, without me thinking, kalamun, is it masculine or feminine? As far as it's not this, not that, not that, not that, not that, then it is masculine. Finish. Okay? And then final things you look about the ism's properties is the type. When we say type, we are talking about it being either nakira or ma'arifa. Ism, okay? Ism al-kalima. And then we say that by default, all isms are common, except if any of these 7 instances, happen to an ism, either an ism having an al, or if it's a proper name, or if it is the one being called munada, or if it's a pronoun, damir, pointer word, ismul ishara, allazi words, asma al-mawsula, and the mudaf, if the mudaf ilayhi is proper. These are the conditions, these are the things that will make an ism proper. Else, an ism is always common. These are the 4 things to consider for a status of an ism. And then we discussed also the fragment, looking at the ism. If the ism becomes more than 1, we say it's a fragment. It's less than a sentence, but more than a word. In this particular instance, we had 5 different fragments. Idafa. Every idafa has mudaf and mudaf ilayhi. Mudaf will always come before of in translation. Mudaf ilayhi would always be after of in translation. Mudaf ilayhi does not accept any distance. So between the mudaf and mudaf ilayhi, you cannot put any word. They are always together. Mudaf ilayhi determines the type of mudaf. So if the mudaf ilayhi is ma'rifa, then the mudaf naturally will also be ma'arraf. If the mudaf ilayhi is nakira, the mudaf will also be nakira. There are 3 types of idafa. Idafa with the of translation, and idafa with the attachment of a pronoun to an ism, like baytihi, wa layluhu, and ta'amuha, and so on, when the pronoun is attached to an ism, or if we have the special idafa situation where we have any of the zarf. So zarf and mazruf are also considered as a type of idafa. Okay. Mawsuf sifa is the second type of fragment, and it has 2 parts. The mawsuf is always the word that is only one and is always at the beginning, and is never a pronoun, a pointer, or a word, or an ismul mawsul, and it's always light. Sorry, it's not light. This is not light. This is idafa, light, and no alif or lam followed by that. Okay, but mawsuf will always be one word, and it comes before the sifa. It is never a pronoun or a pointer or ismul mawsul. Okay, but the sifa would always follow the mawsuf in 4 properties. Okay, matching the mawsuf in its rafa, in its status, number, gender, and type. And the sifa can be more than one, okay? And it can also allow distance between it and the mawsuf. And it can never also be a proper name, and it can also not be a pronoun or a pointer, which means a sifa, al-ism al-mawsul here can be a sifa, okay? Right? Else the other pronoun pointer words cannot be mawsuf or cannot be sifa. Okay. So that's the second type of fragment. The third type of fragment is harf of jar and its majrur. The harf of jars are this: batakala wa min fi anala hatta ila. These are the ones mentioned in the Quran, as we said. And the jar wa majrur can never be separated. Okay. And the harf of jar has a duty to do, and that is to victimize the majrur and make it in a jar status with a sign of either kesra, aini, ina, or atin, depending on the context or the word. And then the fourth fragment is harf of nasb and its ism. Okay, harf of nasb and its ism. Those harf of nasb words, these are they are here: inna, anna, ka'anna, bi anna, layta, lakinna, and la'alla. They cause every ism that comes after them to be in nasb status. It will either take fatha or aini or ina or atin, depending on the number and gender of the ism. It also does not, it does accept distance. So between that harf of nasb and its victim, as well as mawsuf sifa, would accept distance, whilst these two would not accept distance, right? And then ismul ishara and mushar ilayhi is also another fragment. Either a sentence is a fragment, or either both words can either be considered a fragment or a statement. It can be considered a fragment only if the word after the ismul ishara is having an al, okay? Else, it's considered a sentence, okay? So al right after the pointer word, and then four properties of the pointer word would match with the pointed at. Okay, the pointed at. So when I say hada al-kelbu, hada al-kelbu, this dog, both this and the dog would have to have the same four properties, SNGT. Okay, that's what it means here. And then finally, we talk about the invisible is, right? It all has to do also with ism. Okay, so we are still treating ism here. Invisible is an is that is formed when ism come in this kind of situation. Okay, independence pronoun is an ism. Anytime you see it, it's always followed by an is in your translation. So we say ana ustadhul lughat al-arabiyya, I am. Okay, I am ana ustadhu. So I am a teacher. So when the moment I say ana, in the translation, there have to be an is after that. Aw anta talibun mujtahidun, you are. So is and all its conjugations or all its auxiliary siblings, okay? They are invisible in Arabic, which means they don't have a direct translation. What happens is that when certain words come together, they form the is in the translation, and these are the the conditions. After every independent pronoun, you have an is in your translation. Pointer words, okay, also followed by other than al, which means if you see the hadha, hadhani, haula'i, dhalika, tilka, ulaika, if you see them with any word in front of them, be it harf or ism, as far as there's no alif and lam, then you have to bring an is, okay? Oh, so you say, for instance, dhalika kitabun, that is a book. That is a book. Dhalika kitabun, because there is no alif and lam in the kitab, so you bring an is there. Okay. Harf of nasb and its ism. Inna Allaha alimun hakim. Certainly Allah is. Certainly Allah is. So because of the inna and Allah, when you see any of the inna, anna, ka anna, these ones, if you see any of these ones with an ism in front of them, then you have to do a translation of an is immediately after them before any other word. Okay. Innaka ala kulli shayin. Indeed you are. Indeed you are. Innaka ala kulli shay. So you have to say innaka, indeed you are, before you continue your translation. Number 4, proper followed by common. Anytime you see a proper ism followed by common. For instance, when you say as-suburatu sawda'un, as-suburatu, the blackboard, sawda'un is common. So I will say as-suburatu, the blackboard is black. Okay, as-suburatu sawda'un, the blackboard is black. Okay. A breaking chain, we explain it as two isms coming together, broken in the middle by a harf of jar. Okay, anytime you see two isms, like when we say at-ta'amu, and then al-matbakhi, then I say at-ta'amu fil matbakhi, the food is in the kitchen. So at-ta'amu al-matbakhi, hitherto you would have said maybe there is a relationship between at-ta'am and al-matbakh, but they don't make sense. So you have to bring a harf jar in the middle there to show that it is in. So the moment you do that, you have to bring an s also in your translation, okay, before that particular breaker of the chain. Okay, so you say the food is in the kitchen, because there is a break in chain. That harf al-jar that caused the break, you have to bring an s before it. That's how s is invented in Arabic. In fact, we always say that there are some invisible words in Arabic that do not have a one-to-one translation or one-to-one word in Arabic. Is one of them. Of is one of them. We have spoken about of here when we spoke about idafa. This is as well as the letter a when we talk about the common words, right? A. So a, of, and s do not exist one-to-one in Arabic. Okay, good. After that, we spoke about fa'il. So when we came to fa'il, we realized we have madi, mudari, and amr, right? Fi'ils are not verbs. Note, fi'ils are not verbs. Every fi'il contains an inbuilt dua. So when I say daraba, or darasa, or alima, or shariba, there's always a dua inside. There are two kinds of fi'il generally, past and present. The present is where the future is pulled from in Arabic, and the future is made up of command and forbidding. Okay, the past tense, we learn the chart, right? We remember our chart of past tense, and you remember what we said about fails. We said anytime you want to be able to master your fails, then you have to you must have mastered your pronouns. Huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna, anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antunna. Because every fi'il has a pronoun in it. And that's why you cannot know fi'il without knowing your pronouns, right? So in that chart of Nasara, we were able to know Nasara, Nasara, Nasaru, Nasarat, Nasarata, Nasarna, Nasarta, Nasarutuma, Nasarutum, Nasarti, Nasarutuma, Nasartunna, Nasartu, Nasarna, because I know my pronouns and I know how the pronouns should represent inside the fi'l. Okay, so we started with the fi'l madi, and then the fi'l mudari, the same. The difference here is that fi'l mudari has certain letters called the anita letters. Hamza, Nun, Ya, U, and Ta. Anytime you see them, you know that the fi'l is mudari. And fi'l mudari are of three types. We have the normal fi'l mudari, and then we have the light fi'l mudari, and we have the lightest fi'l mudari. These are the signs that cause a fi'l mudari to be light. Sorry, these are the harfs that cause fi'l mudari to be light, and these are the harfs that cause fi'l mudari to be lightest. But they can be light and lightest to every fi'il except fi'ils that have the pronoun of antunna and hunna. Remember we mentioned this. Okay, and then we look at fi'l amr and nahi. Nahi is very easy to form. Just make the fi'l mudari lightest, second person, and then you bring la before it. So la tazhab, la tabki, la tatakallam. So tatakallam is lightest, second person. The la make is forbidden. Commanding is a little bit difficult, more difficult than to compose than the forbidding. Where we say the commanding, you still bring the fi'l mudari and make it lightest, second person. And note, you cannot command or forbid first person or third person. You can always only forbid the second person. Okay. And when you command the second person, what you do is you bring the fi'l mudari and make it lightest, second person, of course, like ta'kulu, kulu. Okay, or tajlisu. That's the fi'l mudara, second person fi'l mudara, normal. Then I will make it tajlis, tajlis. Then I will remove the ta from ta, tajlis. Then it becomes jlis. I cannot say jlis, so I have to bring something called a helper alif to assist me to be able to read. So when I bring the alif, it will become ijlis. Okay, and ijlis. And I determine if either it is ijlis or ujlis, depending on the normal fi'l mudara second person. If the normal fi'l mudara second person has the last but one letter having the sound u, then the alif that I'm going to bring in the amr equivalent of the fi'l would also take u. However, if the last but one letter of the fi'l mudara normal is having fatha or kisra, then the helper alif of the same fi'l would also have kisra. Okay, so but there's no fatha, of course. There's no fatha in the helper alif. Okay, now the fifth point here with regards to fi'l is that we have pronouns being attached to a fi'l. So attaching pronoun to a fi'l, how do we attach? You remember we mentioned that pronouns can be attached and they can be independent. So the attached pronoun can be attached to an ism, they can be attached to a fi'l. When a pronoun is attached to a fi'l, they are in nasb status because they are details. Okay, maf'ul bihi, maf'ul bihi. These are the steps to translate a pronoun that is attached to a fi'l. First of all, identify the pronouns and ignore them, and then translate the fi'l itself, and then translate the attached pronoun before putting them together. That is anytime how, for instance, when I say ra'aytukum or ra'aytuhum, inni ra'aytu ahada ashara kawkaban, inni ra'aytuhum li sajidin. Okay, ra'aytuhum, I saw them. So ra'aytu, there is a pronoun inside. This one is called damir mustatirun, but this one is damir muttasilun. Muttasil is different from mustatirun. Okay, so this one is known as muttasil. Okay. And then the sixth thing here is the the inside and outside dua. We'll also learn in jumla fi'liya that a fa'il can be inside, the fa'il can also be outside. Inside fa'ils are pronouns, outside fa'ils, if the dua is not a pronoun, then it is an outside dua. Okay, outside duas have rules. The rules are that every fi'il that has an outside dua, then that fi'il must be in the huwa or here form only. Okay, a dua is after the fi'il and also in rafa status. Okay, dua does not have to be right after the fi'il. So the dua can even be far away from the fi'il, but the most important thing is that it is in the same statement, right? So that is the inside and outside dua. And then finally, with regards jumla fi'liya, we said that jumla fi'liya can be active or passive. Okay, madi mudari. How do you know the passive and passive form of the fi'l mudari? The sound ui signifies the madi, ua signifies the mudari. So when I say kutil al insan, so the moment I hear kuti, ui, okay, ui is madi, passive, mabni al-majhul. But when I hear ua, then it is fi'l mudara mabni al-majhul, that ua. And here we said we can have i or that means you can, depending on the family of the fi'l can be rubai or khumasi. When it becomes rubai or, sorry, no khumasi, I said khumasi. It can be khumasi means a 5-letter word or 4-letter word. Then you will have sometimes the sounds replicating, either i or or something like that. Okay, so that is so passive and active is actually a concept that if you can learn it more when you come to go into the advanced now, where you will be able to differentiate between a fi'l that has a fa'il and a fi'l that has a naibul fa'il. So active fi'ls will have a fa'il, but passive fi'l will have naibul fa'il. The naibul fa'il are hitherto maf'ul bihi in the normal active fi'ls. Okay, so that is how the concept is. So I'm sure you'll get that clearer when you read your books. Kana and the sisters are another concept. Kana, Bata, Sara, Alaysa, Asbaha, Adha, Amsa, Zalla, Madama, and so on. All these sisters, they have a job to do also. They come and the construct is considered failure because they are actually fail but naqis. Okay, they are known as incomplete fails. Why are they incomplete? Because they do not have a fa'il. They have their ism and their khabar. Okay, we did that concept too, very interesting. They maintain the status, the sound or the status of the mubtada by making it, by maintaining it as marfu, but then the khabar becomes mansub. Okay, that they do opposite of what inna does. Okay? And then we also learn the concept of al-mawsul, ism al-mawsul, and sila. Alladhi, alladhina, alladhani, allati, allatani, allati, allawai, and then man and ma, asma al-mawsula. These ones, very important concepts. Anytime you see any of them, they will have a word after them or a phrase or a sentence that is known as sila. Okay, sila. That means that particular word is a connector to allazi or alladhina or allati or how the case might be, and they do not have a position in the sentence, but la mahalla lahu min al-i'rab, what we say, but it's alladhi that has the mahall min al-i'rab. So the alladhi can be fa'il, it can be mawful, it can be sifa, it can be everything, but the sila would always be connected to it. Okay, and then we learned also about ma la lam lan, the nawafi. These are the negation harfs. They cause the statement after them to be, or the fail after them to be manfi, negated. Okay, and we learn what they do. Some of them do not affect the fail, others affect the fail. Some of them can ma, for instance, the most powerful negation harf, can work on fail madi and mudari. The rest can always be on fail al mudari. And ma and la do not affect the fail, but lam and lan would make the fail jazm and nasb respectively. And then finally, we looked at the conditional statement. We said a statement can be conditional by using some of these tools, in, man, and ma. Okay, when we use them, when you see them, then they have to be, there is a conditional statement, and the conditional statement can be seen by noticing the fi'l mudari, the two fi'l mudaris that they make jazm, okay, or they make lightest. And then you know that the first part is the fi'l shart, the second part is the jawab ashart. You can also have an implicit conditional statement in fi'l al-amr and jaza'ul amr, where you won't see any of these three, but the meaning of that command and the answer to it gives us an implicit meaning of or tone of condition or shart. Therefore, it also has two fails, both of them having been in jazm or being lightest. Okay, then you look at this and then you see the totality of what we have done so far, right? It's a very interesting table here. This is an organogram of what you have in your mind. From the kinds of words, four kinds of things to consider with regards to an ism. There's four different properties: status, number, gender, type. So this is all related to an ism, right? And then when you come to the status itself, these are the four things to consider: status, the forms or the forms of the status, how to tell the forms, the ending combination and ending sounds, and considering the ending, either it's been light or heavy, and the flexibility, all under the status of an ism. And then the number of an ism can either be singular, pair, or plural, okay? And the plural is where the confusion is, where you have the different kinds of plurals, right? And then the gender can either be masculine or feminine. And we said by default, all isms we are still under ism. Note, this whole table is about ism. All isms are masculine except if made feminine by any of these conditions. And then every ism is also common except if made proper by any of these situations. Okay, so this is all about ism. Okay. And then we look at the fragments, which are for idafa, jar wa majrur, harf of nasb wa ismuhu, and then mawsuf, sifa, and then ism al-ishara and mushar ilayhi. And we've learned about all the rules governing the idafa, all the rules governing jar majrur, all the rules governing ism al-ishara and mushar ilayhi, and then harf of nasb and its ism, and then mawsuf sifa. All these are the 4 fragments, okay? And then we look at the sentences. We said we have jumla ismiya and fi'liya, okay? Jumla ismiya, the component of jumla ismiya is mubtada khabar and muta'alliq bi khabar, subject and predicate, as well as details of the predicate, or what comes to give more information about the predicate. Mubtada is what you cannot do without, it has to be there. And then you have either khabar or muta'alliq bi khabar. Sometimes you can have khabar and muta'alliq bi khabar. Sometimes you can only have the khabar, or you can have muta'alliq bi khabar alone. But mubtada must have starts the sentence to make it jumla ismiya. If a sentence is started by a fi'l, then it's jumla fi'liya. If it's fi'liya, then you need to have a fi'l and fa'il compulsory. These two, you need to have them. You need to detect them first before, if there is any maf'ul or muta'alliq bi fi'l, then that will also follow. And the details, of course, have been shared. Now, sentences that begin with a fi'l, we say are jumla fi'liya. Sentences beginning with an ism or harf of inna and its ism are known as jumla ismiya, right? Now, if you don't see ism or fi'l at the end, at the beginning of a sentence, just look at the next word. That's what you do. So if you see a word starting with fi or min or an and so on, then would you consider it jumla harfiya? No. What you say is you move to the next word, and then you will determine if that sentence is ismiya or fi'liya and so on. So jumla fi'liya has a fi'l, fa'il, maf'ul, and muta'alliq bi fi'l, and all the details have been explained. Jumla ismiya has mubtada khabar and MBK, muta'alliqun bi khabar, and we just said that muta'alliq bi fi'l and muta'alliq bi khabar have something in common, in that they are relating to a certain concept before them. And muta'alliq bi khabar can be jar or majroor, and it can be zarf. But muta'alliq bi fi'l can only be jar or majroor, okay? And then these are some words regarding ism al-mawsul in a hadith, ism mawsul in a hadith, khairukum man. Okay, so this word man, I think we've treated these ones. Okay, this is just an example. Let me pass over this. Okay, and take the kinds of ma. It's a very interesting word in ma. There is ma istifhamiya, ma that is used for interrogation. There's ma nafiya, which we spoke about, ma that is used for negation. Ma mawsuliya. And ma, this ma can be the ma which is part of the allazi and allati and alladhina and so on. So these are the 3 kinds of ma. Another kind of ma is known as masdariya. This one, when we come to sarf, you know how it works. You know, it converts it, and the fi'l will give you the masdar. Okay, it's called ma masdariya. And then ma ta'ajjubiya, ma that's used for expression of amazement. Okay. Then ma shartiya, we mentioned this one earlier on, ma that is used for condition. And ma ibhamiya, this is the ma that speaks about obscurity. Okay, when you want to say something that you don't want to mention its name, then you use the word ma. Okay, so there are a lot of ma depending on how. Then man also has a lot of types. Man can also be istifhamiya, man can also be mausuliya or mausula, and man can also be shartiya, just like ma. Okay, so these are some of the details that we have learned. And then these are some of the glossaries. The glossaries, some of the words we have used. Ismun, fi'lun, harfun, adadun, mufradun, muthanna, jam'u, muzakkar, irab, rafa'un, nasbun, and then rafa, nasb. Okay, of course, rafa, when we say rafa and marfu, we didn't explain the difference between rafa and marfu. Okay, rafa is the status, but marfu is how you identify an ism in this status. Okay, so a marfu word is a word that is in the status of rafa. So rafa, nasb, jar are status, whilst marfu, mansub, majrur are identities of words in the statuses of rafa, nasb, jar respectively. Okay, And then mu'arraf and nakira, it's about proper and common. Asma al-mawsula are the allazi words. Dama'ir are the pronouns. Then asqal, okay, heavy or babun. Of course, babun means a family. This one has to do with sarf mostly. Masdar, this is a word that I mentioned that when you do sarf, you come to know how to technically define it. Mudaf and mawsuf and ism al-ishara, mubtada, khabar, ism mushar ilayhi, sifa, mudaf ilayhi, mabni, غير munsarif. Of course, غير munsarif, we have not been using this one a lot, but it means partly flexible. And then munsarif is fully flexible. Okay. Fi'l amr and fi'l nahi. Sulasi mujarrad and sulasi mazid. These ones have to do with sarf. Okay. These are 3-letter words, and 3-letter words that can have extra words. Okay. These two terminologies will be known when we come to do sarf. Fil madi or madin. You can write it madin or madi. Maf'ul bihi, maf'ul lahu, maf'ul fihi. All the kinds of maf'uls, right? That we have learned. Where are they? Maf'ul lahu, maf'ul hal, maf'ul mutlaq. Fil madi mudari, fil madi marfu, madi normal fil normal fil mudari marfu, fil mudari mansub, and fil mudari majzoom. Okay, these are all terminologies that we have used. Fil mudari majzoom, mabni lil majhul, fa'il and naib al fa'il. Of course, we say fa'il when the sentence or the fi'il is active. We say naib al fa'il when the fi'il is passive. Harf nasibat al mudari are the harfs that cause the fi'il mudari to be nasb. Harf jazmat al mudari are the fi'il mudari, the harfs that cause the fi'il mudari to be lightest. Okay. Nafiya lil jins. Okay. It's very interesting. I mentioned it, I think, once or twice. That is the absolute la. Okay. These are the la. This is the word that any ism that comes after it must be nakira. Nakira means it has to be in a common state as well as mansub. Okay. In fact, we say ta'mal amal inna. Okay. It is considered as if it's working as if it's inna in the system. Ism al-mawsul and sila. This is also another concept that we spoke about. Ism al-mawsul are the allazi family. Words that come after them are known as sila. Harf mushabbah lil-fi'l, this concept we have not dealt with it. Fi'il naqis are the kana and the sisters. Naqis means it's incomplete. Why is it incomplete? Because it has no fa'il. Damir mustatir, we say, is a pronoun that is inside the hidden pronoun. Min za'ida, this concept also we have not treated it here. Damir muttasil, attached pronoun. Munfasil, independent pronoun. Ba za'ida, we have not treated it here. Shart is a condition. Jawab shart is the resultant or second answer to the condition. Fi mahal, you know, fi mahal, we did discuss fi mahal. Fi mahal simply means a word is in status of something, whilst physically it looks different. But we say allazi is fi mahal rafa because it is in a position of rafa. It's supposed to be fa'il or it's supposed to be khabar and so on. So we say fi mahal. Okay. And then la mahalla lahu min al-i'rab or la mahalla laha min al-i'rab, something like sila. Sila we say la mahalla laha min al-i'rab because it's always dependent on or it's always connected to allazi that comes after it. Okay, tu'rab i'rab, this is another expression that you do when a word is considered or is used with a particular kind of i'rab because it does not fall in the major category of concept. So you say tu'rab i'rab kaza. Okay, this word is given the i'rab. For instance, I spoke to you about la nafiya lil jins. You say la nafiya lil jins tu'rab i'rab inna wa akhwatuha. تنصب المبتدا تنصب الاسم. Okay, it makes the ism after it nasb. So we say, for instance, la ilaha illallah. So la is the one that caused the ilaha to take nasb. So you say the la is like inna and its sisters. So we say tu'rab i'rab kadha. Okay. Yeah. So these are the things we have mentioned and said so far. Okay. Now let's go for a short break and come back to do some exercises before we close the session and we close the whole batch discussion. Stay on. I'll be back in the next 2-3 minutes. Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, let's go back to our slides and let's do some exercises. But before that, let me mention this, that even as we come to the end of the course, one thing I would like to mention is that some of you really have shown commitment to the learning, and a lot of exercises that you did on the Edmodo is quite impressive, and I'm sure you would continue doing that and finish off the exercises as well. We would also like to mention that any of you, please, any of you who is interested in continuing this project work which we are doing, and that is mainly bringing closer to people the learning or teaching methodology of Nahaw using the English content. If you want to be part of the facilitators doing this project, please let us know by sending me a mail with mentioning that you are interested, because sometimes we have some of the people who want to get individual people to teach them, for instance, or I mean, they don't want to be in a class like this, but they want special attention. So we put together not more than 5 people, for instance, for one facilitator, and it makes it easy for a lot of interaction between the facilitator and the learner. So we need more of the facilitators, more of those who have gone through this course to spread the methodology more. And so please, particularly some of you who have gone through and have undertaken all the exercises. In fact, very interesting that also you cannot qualify to my expectation without you going through all the Edmodo exercises and getting more than 80%. That one is guaranteed that you have to convince me that yes, you are going to do a good and appreciable job. Then you need to answer those Edmodo questions. Okay. So those who have been able to do that, definitely they will be in my record, but you need to also mention Khalifa, who are you? Because I know you are indebted to S.A.I.D. Because you are supposed to be one of our facilitators, but you keep on dodging us. But we think and we are sure that you will be able to make it. So your Edmodo questions are waiting for you, Khalifa. Make sure you finish it up and embrace yourself well to undertake the task. Okay. And so that is just so that's my email address. Okay, let's look at some exercises here. Okay, please sharpen your fingers and do these exercises for us. فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ إِلَىٰ طَعَامِهِ. Please, you have 1 minute to do the Iraq quickly. Don't post it until I say so. فَلْيَنْظُرْ الْإِنسَانُ إِلَىٰ طَعَامِهِ. Please do it on the chat, or maybe what do you think? Should we open the annotation so that, okay, no, it's easier doing it here, right? Let's do it here on the chat box. And or maybe let me open the annotation, because some people would like to try using it. And so you can use the annotation. Let me enable it. If you like, you can use it to type your answers. But in that case, it will be seen. And I don't want it to be seen. Okay, so let's use it's better we use the chat box. Okay, let's use the chat box. Do the I'rab of فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ إِلَىٰ طَعَامِهِ. Note the steps. The steps of I'rab is, number 1, identify the kalimat, the ism, fi'il, harf. So you know this is a fi'il, This is a harf, and this is an ism. Then the second thing, do I even have fragments in these sentences? Quickly run through, browse through with your eyes. Oh, there is one fragment. Easy. And then you consider the sentence. So you have to be following those steps, and then for you to be able to do the I'rab. So try as much as possible and finish up the I'rab before you send your answer. Don't send the answers, please, yet. Just type it, don't press enter. If you press enter, we'll see some of your answers, and we don't want to do that for now. So just keep on answering, keep on, I'm just giving you the steps, you know. If you are advanced, what you do is quickly see if what kind of jumla is it and start your I'rab. If you are not advanced and you are starting to learn how to do the I'rab, then I'm giving you the clue. Look at the kinds of words, separate them, and then put a colon in front of each one, and then you define them, inshallah. Okay, mashallah. So you have 2 more minutes to do that. Hey, I gave you 1 minute and I'm giving you 2 more minutes. How come? Okay, yes, you have 2 minutes to do that because I've been talking. Okay, yes, time is up. Now you can start pasting your answers if you have them. The i'rab of فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ إِلَى طَعَامِهِ. فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ إِلَى طَعَامِهِ. Any i'rab so far, anyone who has completed can paste his or her answer. Okay. Any answered? Now you have the next 20 seconds to do that. Else, I'll start doing it myself. And you know, when I start doing it myself, I'm deducting marks from your participation. And the meter is reading. So yes, I know you are busily putting it together. So I'm waiting for the answer. فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ إِلَى طَعَامِهِ. Hey, yes, so what are they? Kulthum. Is it Sharif? Sharifa. Not Sharifa of Accra. Habiba, Abu Dawood, Abdul Rafi. Hey, Abdul Rafi, have you been around? Asma Nana, where are you? And where is Sakina? Yes. So paste your answers for the i'rab of the first ayah. Want Khalifa to start disturbing me? No, Khalifa should hold his fire. If you give Khalifa, he will take the Khilafah and everything will, you know, when you start exhibiting the powers of Khilafah is something else. Yes, we are waiting for any of the participants. Is it that you are typing and you are not yet done? Or is it that you are not ready to, or you want me to do it myself? This is the last day. Oh, The last days are dangerous. If you don't, as I have taken care of a lot of your concerns, particularly with the poll that I did this morning about some of the concepts that were not too clear, and one of them is that of the Jumla Fi'liya, and luckily we're having an example here. Okay, I can see one answer from Asma Nana that says Jumla Fi'liya, Fal is harf jars, harf jazz. What is jazz? Jazz like in piano. Yeah. Oh, jazm. Is that okay? Okay, sorry. Fal. Okay, harf jazimat al mudari, right? So that's harf jazm. Okay. Yanzuri. Yanzur fi'il mudari majrur. That's interesting. Al-insanu is fa'il mudari majzum. Okay. Okay, jazmun and majrur. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Asma. Very good. Very good. So it's jazm. And al-insanu is fa'il. MashaAllah. Ila is harf jar. Ta'ami is ism. He is pronoun of huwa. Yes, he is huwa pronoun. But what is the relationship between ta'am and huwa? And the huwa, which is the he. You remember idafa, right? So very good. It's very good attempt there. Okay. Imran IB says jumla fi'liya fa is harf. Fa is harf. But what kind of harf is that? Arabian. In your Arab, you say it's harf. And then yanzuri fi'il mudari. Where is your fa'il? Inside. Okay, outside dua. Perfect. MashaAllah. Good. Ila is harf jar. Ta'ami is majroor. MashaAllah. Idafa, attached pronoun. Yes, MDF. Very good. Very good. That's very impressive. Kulthum says fa is harf. Okay, fa is harf. Yes, yes, I agree. Fa is harf, but we call it atifa. Okay, you know, I did mention the last time that we have three kinds of harf atf, conjunction harfs. Okay, we have the wa, and then the fa, and then the thumma. Okay, these three words, anytime you see them in your Arab, just say atifa. Atifa means they are conjunction words. Okay, atifa. Very good. So it's a harf. And then la. Okay, to L. So the la is harf. Also, what kind of harf is that? Supposed to be harf jazm. Okay. So the fa, and then the lam constitutes harf jazimatil mudari. Okay. So you don't separate this from that. So fa and then l. So fal. Yeah. So fal. Then yanzuri. Yeah, it's majzum bila. Yes, exactly. Okay, so that is what needs to be clear there. Yanzuri becomes the. So you said fil mudari, yanzur fil mudari, and then the harf ma'rifa. What is harf ma'rifa? Harf, that is the al you are talking about. So you are separating the al in that case. Marfu. Okay, marfu. Ism fil mudari, sorry, fa'ilun marfu. Supposed to be fa'il. Fa'ilun marfu. So fa'il is the doer. So you say fa'ilun marfu. So you have to mention the status of the word in a sentence. So you say fa'ilun marfu. Fa'il is the doer. Okay, marfu is the status of that particular doer. which is in Rafa status, and then insana is ismun. Hey, so am I am the one rather confused. Harf marfu, and then insan is ism marfu. Yes, ism marfu is the fa'il, and then ila is harf of jar. And then the amu is ism majroor bi ila. Perfect. Then after that, what do you do? If it's ism of ta'ami, what about the he? So he is fa'il majzoom bi, no. He is the mudaf ilayhi. Okay, so there is idafa here between ta'am and he. Anytime we see a pronoun attached to an ism, is mudaf ilayhi. Okay, in your translation, you say there is a translation of there is a possession here, ta'amihi, his food of his. So this is a word after of, and this is a word before of. Light, no alif or lam, followed by a jar ism. Okay, so this is a very good attempt. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you so much. So in this case, we would be having the harf of jazm. This one causes the fi'l mudara to be jazm. And note, I like it that all of you knew that this one is majzoom. It is just, yes, it is just an for flow, okay, for flow, that the kisra is put here. So it's supposed to be falyanzur with a sukun, actually. But so this one is a tajweedi reason for which it is made kisra, so that you will be able to read through iltiqa sakinain when two sukuns met. Okay. Now, al-insanu is the dua of the yanzur. Okay. So Allah is saying, then let the mankind look. So this is the dua of the looking. Ila ta'ami, what is he looking at? So jar wa majrur, MBK, because but it can also be still be maf'ul, by the way. Jar wa majrur, this jar wa majrur and the idafa can be maf'ul, because this is what the human being would look at. So you are looking at this. Okay, so this act of looking can go here, and it becomes NBF maf'ul. So MBF can still also be maf'ul when you go advanced. Okay, so MBF can also be maf'ul at the same time. Now, فَإِذَا جَاءَتِ الصَّاخَّةُ. Another sentence here, but let me quickly do this. Fa is another atifa. Either this word for now, we have not discussed this concept. So I'll leave it off, but let's look at ja'at as-saha. Ja'at as-saha. So ja'at is fi'l madi. Okay, ja'at fi'l madi tells you that the dua is feminine. Okay, because of the here too, that it's supposed to be sukun actually, but the kisra is just for flow, to make it easy for you to read sakha, so that you cannot read ja'at sakha, ja'at sakha. So instead of that, you are asked to read it ja'atis sakha. Okay, so ja'at is a fi'l madi, and then sakha is fa'il. So fi'l fa'il, finish. Okay. إِنَّهُ لَقَوْلُ رَسُولٍ كَرِيمٍ. Okay, إِنَّهُ لَقَوْلُ رَسُولٍ كَرِيمٍ. The moment you hear inna, you know there is inna in the ism, right? Where is the ism of inna? Who. Inna who. Inna who. Okay, the who is the ism of inna. And then la is for emphasis here. This one is not la for jar. Okay. Qawlu is the khabar of inna. So when we have mubtada, so inna and the ism are always mubtada. So inna, annaka, anna, bi, anna, lakinna, layta, la'alla, all those tools that are used to make an ism nasb, they are always with the ism, they constitute mubtada. And then la qawlu rasulin kareem. Okay, la is for emphasis only. It does not affect the qawlu. Qawlu is the khabar of inna. Then rasulin is mudaf ilayhi. This mudaf ilayhi is common. So therefore, you translate this also common. That's why here in the meaning you see a noble messenger, not that noble messenger, because this particular idafa relationship is not that for that in that where the mudaf ilayhi is proper, where then the mudaf will also become proper. In this case, the mudaf ilayhi is nakira, common. Therefore, the mudaf will also be translated as common. Okay, and then we say karimin is the sifa of Rasul. So Mawsuf sifa. Okay, in that case. Okay, so the all of this is the mubtada. لقول رسول كريم becomes the khabar. Okay. Keep coming. Okay. Okay, so وَإِنَّ الْفُجَّارَ لَفِي جَهِيمٍ. وَإِنَّ الْفُجَّارَ لَفِي جَهِيمٍ. Can you do this quickly? I have done 3 for you. Do وَإِنَّ. Okay, let's do it together. Let's do it together. How many words are in this ayah? Quickly. How many words? Kam kalima. If I say words, I mean technically, in Nahu, how many words are there? 7. Okay. What are they? Oh, can't you see it? وَإِنَّ الْفُجَّارَ لَفِي جَهِيمٍ. Sorry. Imran, so you cannot see the screen? Okay, sorry. Okay. I'm not pairing you with anyone. You are pairing with yourself. Okay. So when I'm looking for a paired individual, I'll give you a call. Okay, Brother Imran. Okay, so Istamania is 8. How do you consider, okay, very good. So it's wa inna al fujara la. Very good. I like that. So this is where I want the. So la fi and then jahim. So asma nana, ja is not a word, and him. No, you can't have a ja. It's jahim, the whole of jahim. So it's wahid ithnin thalatha arba khamsa sitta saba. So for those who said it's 7, yes, it is correct. MashaAllah. Okay. So let's do the i'rab. Wa innal fujjar lafi. Because before we do the i'rab, is there a fragment in the sentence? If there is, what is the fragment? Is there a fragment? Yes. Then you tell me what. If no, then it's no. We are done. Is there a fragment, and what are the fragments? Yes, idafa, mashallah. Which part of it is the idafa? Asma, very good. Which part of the ayah is idafa? Jar wa majroor, says Imran. Yes. Okay, which part of it is jar wa majroor? Okay, al-fujjar, you say al-fujjara is what? So al-fujjar is a fragment. Asma, is al-fujjar a fragment? And which part of it is the jar wa majroor, Brother Imran? Sister Asma, do you say al-fujjar is a fragment? So al is one word in that case, and okay, inna and the victim in al-fujjara. Absolutely, yes. Correct. Lafi jahim is what? Kulsum. Yes. Sister Kulsum, what is lafi jahim? Is this mawsuf sifa or idafa or ism al-ishara mushar ilayhi or inna and the sisters or jaru majrur? Okay, fi jahimi. Okay, yes, you are right. You are right, Imran. So that means there is one. So it's not one fragment. Do you agree now with me? Because all of you are giving me, there is one fragment that was started by, yes, Jaru Majrur, correct. Yes. So there is one fragment that was started by Asma, Sister Asma, which when she says Al-Fujjara, but actually it should have been, oh, mashallah, Imran, 3. Interesting. Okay, what are the 3? What are the 3 fragments? I would tend to agree with you, Imran, brother Imran, but you need to tell me, you need to tell all of us, how did you get your 3 fragments? وَإِنَّ الْفُجَّارَ لَفِي. Yes, so you said وَإِنَّ وَإِسْمِ. Sorry, inna wa ism, yes. Which one is that? So you need to tell me what is the inna and the ism. When you are doing the i'rab, you need to tell me inna and ism is inna and what? What is the ism? The ism can be somewhere, or is it the ism that is attached to it? And then lafi and fil jahim. Yes, you are right. So lafi and fil jahim. So inna and this. Let me ask this question. The inna and its ism, do they accept distance? Inna and the ism, does it accept distance? Imran, are you saying yes? So if you are saying yes, that means you have to specifically tell me what is the ism of inna, because I can decide to say the ism of inna is not al-fujjara in that case. Yes, so it is al-fujjara, okay? It is al-fujjara, right? Yeah. Okay, Jazakallah khair. So we have the inna and the ism. So inna al-fujjara is one fragment. Lafi is jar wa majrur, another fragment, yes. And then fi jahimin is also another fragment. Bravo, very good. MashaAllah. Now, with this, we will say, Jazakumullah anna kull khair, for all the time and efforts that we have all spent to come to the end of this batches sessions. Inshallah, we would be waiting for you to finish all your Edmudo exercises by close of the week. And I think by Friday, should have been done. By Friday this time, all Edmudo questions must have been answered, but please try them. And they are still open there. You can go try your hands on them. It will help you as an individual. It will also help the cause of bringing the Quran closer, as we said, to everyone. I mean, it's a duty on us, isn't it? All of us as servants of God are also responsible. كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته. Every one of us, every one of us would be asked of the opportunity given him or her to learn. All of us learn a lot of things, right, in life. What do you think about the question of what did you learn about your deen? It's a very good thing for us to reflect on. And so some people have seen it very, very relevant to bring this sessions for you without asking you for anything but your presence. And I think it becomes even more and more heavier on you because you have got it and you have been given the opportunity to have it. The implication in your case is just to bring yourself and get ready to to learn. That is the only thing you had to do. And for us, alhamdulillah, we have shared, but we will always be ready, and our, the platform is always open, and you can always go to the YouTube channel to view all the videos that we have so far recorded. And then from that, you definitely would make up your own you would also make up your own level. You'll have your own level of understanding that probably you might also share with others. Normally what we say is that please don't keep this knowledge to yourself. Share it with others. Even if you cannot share it with others, please make sure you practice it from now on. You open your Quran, go through those steps. How can I identify the words in this ayah? Identify the kinds of words. Can I identify the fragments? Identify the fragments in there. Can I identify the types of sentences? Identify the sentences in there. Keep on doing this on and on and on. And inshallah, with the rewards even that you get for reading every single letter and having a reward for it is even enough for you to say, I have done something for myself. The Prophet ﷺ has told us that any one of us who reads the Quran and having difficulty in understanding or reciting, in fact, would have two rewards. The rewards of reading the verses, as well as the rewards for the effort that is being exerted. And so we should not sit down and think that learning the Quran and learning our deen is a privilege of some people. Let them go and learn and come and teach us. No, we have a direct responsibility to learn from the Quran. The word Iqra that is in the Quran is meant for all of us. Anyone who reads Iqra, Allah is talking to you and I, everyone, that you should read. So reading is a must, and definitely when you read, you need to understand. And that's why it says, بِإِسْمِ رَبِّكَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ. He has even shown you how to do that, how to do the reading. You read with the name of the Lord, of your Lord, الَّذِي خَلَقَ الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ عَلَقٍ اقْرَأْ وَرَبُّكَ الْأَكْرَمُ الَّذِي عَلَّمَ بِالْقَلَمِ. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the rewards of what we have done. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa jazakallah anna kulla khair. Thank you so very much. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wa salamun ala al-mursaleen. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ma'as-salama. Ameen ya Rabb. Ameen. Ameen.